You guys like my mic stand? Oh, well, I guess if you're listening to just the audio of this podcast, then you can't see my mic stand. But if you would like to see my mic stand, and if you would like to tune in to the video of this particular podcast, you can head over to the show notes. I'll include the link to the YouTube video, but I don't really think this is a episode in which needs video. I'm sitting in my dorm room, if you will, here in Puerto Rico, but we're going to dive into something pretty quick and pretty commonly asked, which is interesting because I wouldn't expect this particular question to come up as much as it does in like how I got started playing in Puerto Rico. I don't know. Would you guys consider Puerto Rico overseas? I need to do something with my hands. So I need to, here we go. I need to grab this baseball. That's better. Okay. So the question I get a lot is like how I got into Puerto Rico, how I started playing here, and the steps that I personally took and the steps to take if someone is interested in playing, like in a winter league, or a league in general, I guess. I've done some content. Now that it's on my mind, I'll write this down to include this link to a particular segment in the show notes, but asking the question of like how to get seen, how to get noticed, how to get with a team, essentially. So I will include a link to that as well. It's going to be a website article actually, which will have multiple videos on how to do that, depending on if like you're a college, high school, amateur, or even like I've gotten the question a lot of times. Someone has been out of the game for so long and then they want to get back in. They've had a refueled passion for the game. They want to get back in. So I've done a lot of context on that. So I'll include that in the show notes as well. How to get seen. Okay. So I apologize ahead of time for my vocabulary / communication skills, I guess, because your boy could not sleep last night. It's really early in the morning right now here in Puerto Rico. I got 4.5 hours of sleep, which I know you care very, very little about, but I just want to preface that to cover all my bases when when we're 15 minutes in and you're like, wow, this guy, he cannot talk. But honestly, this won't take long. But before we dive into the actual answer to the question, I do need to talk about a few different things here for the pre-roll. So bear with me. First and foremost, today's sponsor of the Robby Row Show Baseball podcast, this particular episode, is Rake Baseball Company. Rake Baseball Company is a baseball apparel brand that I've been wearing, I want to say, since 2019. Because I remember getting my first, wow, I have a good memory. If you guys didn't know that about me, now you do. I have a pretty good memory. I remember opening my first ever package from Rake Baseball Company. I was in a studio apartment in Omaha, Nebraska. Again, I know you care very, very little about this little blurb here, but I'm going to say it anyways. And I remember thinking wow, that's not only dope ideas for t-shirt designs or jogger designs, but this is really good. This is really good material. So, Rake Baseball Company, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you can see my favorite Rake Baseball Company shirt is actually probably their most plain design, but it is awesome in the sense that it's a home plate with pitching is life. When I was a little kid, I was probably 8 or 9 years old. My dad had a shirt that he wore when he was playing that said, "Baseball is life, the rest is just details." And I kid you not, I wore that freaking shirt to 4th grade 4 times a week. And school weeks were 5 days? Yeah, so that's where I'm at. But special shout out Rake Baseball Company for being a sponsor, not only the podcast, but essentially my entire brand, and the support that they've given me throughout this entire journey, and the numerous amounts of care packages that they've sent me. Big shout out, Rake Baseball Company. If you're interested, I will include a link in the show notes for Rake Baseball Company and how to get their apparel. And you can even use discount code Robby, ROBBY at checkout to get, I think they hook it up too. I think he gives you like a 20% discount too, and potentially free shipping, but I'm not 100% certain on that. So thank you, Rake Baseball Company, for the continued support, and it is truly appreciated. A couple other things before we dive into this is links I will include in the show notes, along with all of the other ones that I've already mentioned up to this point. Is I started a new series. I wonder how many times I've said that on a podcast. Hey, I've started a new series, guys. No, but I've started a new series. It kind of dawned on me because I film every single one of my catch plays out here in Puerto Rico, even at the field, obviously, but in the parking lot when on our off days. Today's an off day for us. I'm actually going to probably film another throwing program in the parking lot. So I came up with an idea that I'm just going to take all of like my most entertaining, most cool, grammar, clips and put them all together and create what I call Catch Play Chronicles. And I'm coming out with, one every single time I throw for catch play. So you guys, I'll include the link in the show notes for that, but I'll also, you can just go to my YouTube and go to my playlists, and you'll see Catch Play Chronicles up there now. I think there's like already 6 episodes. So there you go. Also, 2021 just had a new year. So 2021 recap, my entire recap. I ended up going all out on this and created a whole web page of like every single thing that happened to me in 2021, including like links to content that I talk about. I did a podcast episode, talked everything about it, talked about some learning curves, some growth opportunities, all of that stuff. And then, like I said, I made a web page that had all the content that I talked about from, playing in winter ball 2021 at the beginning of the year, getting COVID, blah, 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 going to indie ball, starting, getting hurt, getting traded, all these other dynamics that happened to me in 2021. You can check out that link in the show notes. And then also, not really content related purposes on my end, but the team that I'm on here in Puerto Rico for the Roberto Clemente Puerto Rican Winter Ball Professional League. That's a mouthful. We just finished our regular season, and we're starting playoffs. I'm recording this on January 6th. Playoffs start tomorrow, January 7th. And with playoffs comes more opportunities to watch if you guys are interested. WAPA Sports is the I don't want to say media, but the what would you say, television company, maybe media company that usually does all our games here. And what they did over the course of the summer was they actually partnered with Fox Sports. So a lot of our games already through the regular season have been aired on Fox Sports 2, and you can also stream that on your app on whatever device you're using. But playoff especially, I think for our first round, we might have 2 or 3 games on Fox Sports 2. Obviously, there's a lot of games if necessary because it's going to be a best of 7. And then the championship, I want to say every single game is going to be covered from Fox Sports 2. So you can check that out on local cable, maybe. But my family just they just stream it on the app. So be sure to check that out. All right, so we're going to get into it now. Thank you for being patient with me, 9 minutes in. But how I got started playing in Puerto Rico. Now, I'm going to give you guys my experience as to how this kind of all happened, and then talk about a little bit more experiences that I've kind of heard from fellow teammates. Excuse me. Yikes. And just other kind of things that can potentially happen to get you in. Okay. So my experience, it's a story. So bear with me. 2015, I was with St. Louis, had a really good year, had an opportunity to go to the fall league. I signed a contract extension. It was a minor league contract extension for just 1 year for the 2016 season with an invite to Major League Spring Training. 2016 comes around, and I get hurt in Major League Spring Training. Ended up having bone spur removal surgery, microscopic, and there was a couple setbacks throughout the rehab process. Long story short, I didn't get as many innings as I would have liked, and it was a really good opportunity coming off of a really good year 2015, and then only kind of a taste in 2016 for me to just keep going. I signed another contract extension after the 2016 season with St. Louis again for another year. So same kind of offer, same contract, in which I got an invite to Major League Spring Training, which was going to be usually around like middle of February. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep throwing. I don't really need a rest period. I just had surgery. I had all this time off, blah, blah, blah. So for me, I've had an agent / I guess it was an advisor when I was 18 in high school. Then it was an agent when I signed that professional contract. So I've had an agent from the age of 18 all the way until this very day. And he took care of like all of the heavy lifting, I would say, for me and my journey, my route to get to play here in Puerto Rico. So I said, hey, I want to play winter ball. And the thing with agents is they have so many different connections. That's kind of the biggest piece to why it would be advantageous for a lot of individuals to have an agent, have an advisor. So the connection pieces, and then just obviously the experience of talking with teams and all of those things, right? But that's honestly how it happened. Now, in 2016, the first time I played winter ball in Puerto Rico, I was actually with the Criollos de Caguas, which is like the team that I'm on now, their rival. So in 2016, my connection to get into Puerto Rico via the Caguas team was actually Alex Cora, who's now the manager of the Boston Red Sox. And that was like my connection. And I got in, I think I was like the last import signed. It was kind of a shot in the dark type thing. They actually took a chance with me because up until that point, I really didn't have like great minor league numbers. So I got to play that first year in Caguas, did really good. And cool piece to this whole story was the manager my first year, Matos, is actually my manager now in Mayaguez, who got me the job in Mayaguez. So anyways, then the hurricane happened in early 2017. So what happened was I got released in spring training from St. Louis in 2017. Played indie ball, and then when it came time to play winter ball, I just like assumed that the season wasn't going to happen because of that hurricane, but they ended up pushing it back. I got a call from the new GM that was now the GM for the Caguas team, asking me to come out, and that's kind of like that's honestly how it goes with pretty much anything, right? In like real life business, if you will. If you make a good first impression and you do your job well, you're more than likely going to get another opportunity. And then that's how you make connections, right? So I'm sure you guys have heard it over and over again, like baseball, especially baseball, but life in general too, is all about like who you know. I know that's like the quote from Step Brothers, right? But you're a doctor. But it really is kind of like that, because what happened was I pitched in the league for 2 years, went to 2 Caribbean World Series, won 2 Puerto Rican championships with the Caguas team. And then obviously, if you guys know my story, I got hurt, blew up my lat, missed 2 potential winter ball leagues because of the complications with the lat surgery. And then finally COVID happened, got to play a little bit in Lexington in one of those pop-up leagues. And then I remember getting a call from, I mentioned him before, Matos, who was my previous manager in Caguas, won 2 championships with him. Got a call saying, we basically like we're catching up, and he had followed me on social media and knew that I was ready to play and so on and so forth. But he gave me the option of potentially coming to the other side of the island with the team that I'm on now. So you obviously get kind of what happened there. And then came out here last winter to this side of the island with Indios De Mayaguez. And again, same story, made a good first impression, threw well, and established really good connections and relationships with the individuals out here. And kind of the rest is history, right? So that's the coolest part about this game is you're not just pitching to win a game, wherever you are. You're pitching for the big picture as well, or you're playing for the big picture. You never know who's watching. That was like the first lesson I think my dad taught me that I would kind of pertain to baseball was like you never know who's watching. Doesn't matter if you're 0 for 4, you're 4 for 4, you're throwing a shutout, you're throwing a no-hitter, or you're getting your tits lit. You always got to have like that same kind of energy, that same charisma, that same intent with everything you do, because you never know who's watching and that person, how much pull and power they have. And first impressions are so big in that regard, right? So in terms of how I got out here, it was basically via my agent. When I always joke about it, but like when I used to be a kind of a prospect when I was with St. Louis, and then I kind of prolonged my winter ball Puerto Rican career just via, doing my job well. So that's how I got in. Now, I'm going to echo a lot of thoughts that I have in a lot of the other content that I've done. I mentioned this in the pre-roll. I'll include a link to that webpage in the show notes as far as like how to get seen, how to get noticed, and all that stuff. But utilize or leverage the 2022 importance of media as best you can. I also talked about this earlier with my manager now here in Mayaguez. If I didn't do what I do on like Instagram, whatever, social media, then that manager, like we had a good relationship, but it's not like we were texting every single day, keeping in touch. It was the fact that I had like posted a lot of videos on Instagram that he had seen that gave him the idea like, oh, let's reach out to Row and see if he's interested in playing for Mayaguez in the 2020 winter ball season, right? So like, it's almost that saying of squeaky hinge gets the oil, but not in the sense of like you're not really intentionally bugging people, but you're just kind of doing your due diligence as far as like putting yourself out there for people to see that you're not only like prepared, ready, good, whatever, but you're also like really passionate about what you do. I think that's another piece that you can take away from people that post content or create content in the baseball space is like, you're not only passionate about the act of working hard or whatever, but you're also passionate about like getting it seen by people, which is a true character trait. For those of you who do this, it's a lot of work, and you really got to love it, and you really got to love the game. So I know I've said so a lot, but honestly, I'm not doing too bad in terms of like my speaking ability. I thought I was going to be a lot worse, to be completely honest with you. So I said this was going to be short. That's my story. That was like my journey here. But the other cool part too is you just create more opportunities for yourself wherever you go and play. So for example, my second year in Puerto Rico with Caguas, we won the Puerto Rican championship. We went to the Caribbean series in Mexico, and you play against like Dominican, Venezuela, Cuba, who else? Panama. I'm missing probably some other people, but you're also like showcasing your skills and your talent for those people too. Now, I know everyone listening is not going to get that opportunity to potentially pitch, in a Caribbean series or something like that. But it's also worth noting, going back to my thought on you never know who's watching. Like you could be playing a high school game, and it just so happens that the dad of like the opposing team's bat boy is connected with somebody that is in close with the GM of the New York Yankees. Like, I'm telling you guys, like, don't take that for a joke, because I've literally been around this game since I was born with Pops playing and now me. And I've seen so many experiences like that where it's just random, couldn't make it up, and then it happens, and then you get your foot in the door, and the rest is history, and then you take care of you. A lot of people just need a shot. I would consider myself in that same group. Maybe I'm stubborn. Who knows? I mean, I guess I do. But a lot of you just need a shot. And in order to get that shot, you got to check all the boxes that are out there for you to put yourself in the best possible situation for you to get that shot. And if you're not doing everything you can, like doing everything within your power to do that, then you can't look me in the eye and say that you want it, right? Because that's a lie. So there you go. That's my experience. Those are my encouragements for those of you guys who are reaching out to ask those particular questions. And don't forget all those links in the show notes. Whatever app you're listening to this on, you can literally just go to like the details page or whatever and go ahead and click those. That's all I got for you guys. I'm back to work, off day today. IG Q&A on my Instagram story. Got to get to that. And then I got to throw in the parking lot. There's this one little mosquito thing here, and I can't get it. Okay, just stay there, man, then we'll be good. All right, much love, guys. God bless. Until next time, I appreciate you. Do me a favor, send this podcast to anyone that has those particular questions. All right, love you. See you guys. Hi.